Howdy, everybody.
Howdy.
Howdy. My name is Brett.
I'm Kelly.
And welcome back to Creepy Coffee and Conversation.
Woo!
It's been a little while since we've done.
I miss it.
I miss it too. It's been a little while since we've done one of these.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're going to talk about The Lighthouse today, which is a new movie by Robert Eggers, the director of The Witch. So, you pretty much know whether you want to see this movie or not.
Right away.
Because if you hated The Witch, don't go see The Lighthouse. And if you love The Witch like we did,
definitely go.
Obviously, we wanted to go see this. So, like all our Creepy Coffee and Conversation videos on movies, coffee, cheers.
Iced coffee, even though it's like 40 degrees out.
Yeah, iced coffee. It's really cold in Maryland right now. But
iced like our hearts.
Oh, that's a good one. So, like traditions in our Creepy Coffee Conversation videos as well, Kelly, did you like The Lighthouse?
So, I don't get excited over movies like this often. I mean, obviously I love movies or else I wouldn't be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really interested in horror movies.
That's what
Would you consider this a horror movie?
Okay, that's a good discussion for debate because, yes, I consider this a horror film.
Yes, but I loved it. I adored it. I can't stop thinking about it. I can't wait to watch it again. I'm obsessed.
I'm glad.
I have so many questions, but I don't even care because it was so good.
Yeah, you literally had no idea what it was even about. You didn't see any ads for it, really.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's about two lighthouse keepers by the director of The Witch, and it's in black and white. And you were like, ooh, that sounds neat.
Mm-hmm. And I think I guess we did have like an inkling that one of the characters like goes mad, and it's the story about that.
Yeah,
that's the extent of what you know.
It's the simplest story ever, and when someone gives you the plot of a movie, you can literally sum it up. It's two lighthouse keepers go completely insane, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, the whole movie takes place on this little, like they call it the rock, like this little island.
It's just a tiny little island where there's a lighthouse, and they're lighthouse keepers doing their lighthouse keeper thing to, their typical duties.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to this movie, and I don't want to spoil anything about this movie because I encourage everyone to go see it.
Yeah.
Especially if you really like The Witch. I think Robert Eggers is a really interesting filmmaker, and he's definitely on my radar, and I think he should be on a lot of horror fans' radars for pretty much if he continues to make horror films. And so, like you had just mentioned earlier, like, is this considered a horror movie? I say yes, it is, but it's obviously film is subjective, and like what people find scary is subjective.
True.
And I'm the type of person that with horror movies, like a demon or goblin or ghost, that does not scare me. None of that scares me. There's a lot of movies that I've seen that aren't even horror films that I'm like, this is a horror film to me. Like, this stuff is far more terrifying than any, like, someone getting their guts ripped open.
Is that because you can like relate to it easier and like see that would actually happen?
Yes, that's what I consider like horror to me. Like you're like your average person who likes to go to the movie theater just to get spooked by stuff, and like they're like, it's a ghost. It's like they consider that horror. And
well, so do I.
And it's like, yeah, I consider that horror, but a lot of people are going to see this movie and be like, it wasn't even a horror movie. But it really is to me. And there's a lot of horrific things in it. And
I found myself sitting like this a lot.
Yeah, we talked about it a lot last night. Usually when we see movies, when we want to do one of these episodes, we don't really say a whole lot about the movie. But we talked about it a lot afterwards. And one thing I told you was there is one particular scene that I was like legit terrified watching it. And it's like there's certain things like people are going to see this as like that wasn't scary at all, but like I said, it's subjective, and it's like to me that's that's something that I was watching the scene and I was terrified by it.
I also think that it's important to think about, like, how much we allowed ourselves to be, like, immersed in this world. Like, we were talking about that a little bit, how, like, while we were watching this film, like, we felt like we were there. They did a really good job of just, like, making you feel like you're there. Yeah. So if you don't allow yourself to go that far, then I can see someone being like, whatever, that movie was just weird.
Yeah, and
do you know what I'm saying? Like,
I do, and this was from A24, and they're known to, a lot of people make fun of them because they're like, their movies are so effing boring, and nothing happens until the last 10 minutes, and then, even then it was stupid, or something. And it's like, yeah, you know if you want to see this or not, and it's like, there was no marketing behind this movie that's like, that was mismarketed about it. It's like, you know exactly what you're getting into here.
And so something else I want to point out that's kind of related is, what year did The Witch come out? You said it was like 5 years ago?
Yeah, it was 2015.
So like, in 2015, I'm sitting in the theater with a couple of my girlfriends. One of them is insane. She's making me laugh. I can't understand what these people are saying. So I left the theater thinking I hated The Witch. But it was because my friend's insane and I couldn't hear what anyone was saying in the movie. So then I watched it again and I was like, holy crap, like, I can't believe I thought this movie was terrible. So if you have that same, like, mentality going into this movie where you're not really paying full attention and you're like, oh, what are these people saying? Like, and you don't try to understand, then you're not going to get anything out of it. You're going to hate it.
Yeah. And, like, we were talking about beforehand after just seeing it, like, it's one of those movies that it's like, if you get literally nothing out of this movie, it's a gorgeous looking movie, even for it being black and white.
They did such an amazing job making it look like
cinematography, everything. It's just, it truly is just like, holy crap, is this like in the 1890s or something like that? Because it legit looks like if someone just took a camera to the 1890s and filmed it.
Right.
That's what it looked like.
I would have loved to, like, be on set and, like, just watch them do their thing. Because it was probably pretty remarkable.
Yeah, and Robert Eggers, it even says in the credits, and in the credits of The Witch, it was like, you know, The Witch was based on a lot of, you know, old folklore, and like there was a ton of research, and like with the Old English, like in that movie where you're like, what are they talking about? Because their vocabulary is so different from how we speak nowadays. And that was the same type of thing with the Lighthouse. It's like, you can tell there was a lot of like research that went into like how the life of a lighthouse keeper is. And I just think stuff like that is like what a lot of movies are lacking nowadays. It's like, you can clearly see a movie like this and it's clearly somebody's vision. It's like, there's a lot of movies nowadays, like a lot of popular blockbusters where it's like, yeah, I get it, like, you know, studios want, you know, certain directors to feel obligated to do certain things.
Franco, there must be some food under that cabinet.
Oh.
We had a party, a kid probably dropped a friggin' meatball or something.
Yeah, Franco's trying, like, jumping up on my leg under the table right now.
Digging on our tile floor trying to get some food. Anyway.
Sorry.
I think it's kind of like bounce off. Were you finished what you were saying, your thought?
Oh, but yeah, it's like a lot of movies nowadays, it's just, there's so much of a committee involved that it's like, it clearly isn't like one person's vision of something.
Right.
But like, at least The Witch and The Lighthouse are really obvious examples of, like, okay, this was someone's clear vision.
Right.
Like, they had full, complete freedom, like creative freedom. So
to piggyback off of the last 2 points you just made about like the research and then like someone's vision, like, I don't think the mainstream audience is thinking about how much actually goes into films like this. So it's like, the people they're trying to please and reach, like, don't care about it, so why would they spend the time doing that?
They don't, clearly, and that's how it should be, like, with, you know, whether it's movies or, like, music, artwork, it's like, you know, it should be the person just has this idea, this vision to create something, and then just put it out there, and whoever likes it, whoever doesn't. But yeah, it's one of those things, what you're saying, that it doesn't, like, they're clearly not trying to please that audience that are like, oh, we want like the scariest movie of all time. It's like, no, they just want to make a film that had this particular vision. And this type of movie, it's like, it's not just, it's not trying to scare you. I don't think it was trying, it's not, like, its goal is not to just be like,
Make you jump.
we're gonna make you jump and like freak out.
It
It's
makes
like, it's
you
not.
feel disturbed though.
Yeah, I would say it, like, the movie's really disturbing, and there's a lot of shots and a lot of images in this movie that definitely will stick with you.
Yeah.
And
But this movie's also gonna piss a lot of people off. That like you often say, like, movies just tied up in a pretty little bow. Like, it's not like that.
it's not like that
at all. So people are gonna get pissed inevitably.
Yeah, and I'm not, like, we're not trying to give away much of the movie as much as possible, but yeah, there was, when we left the theater, we're like, there's a lot of stuff, I have no idea what that meant. Like,
But it doesn't matter.
but it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like people just want answers out of everything, and everything needs to be in a neat little bow when a movie's done. But that's the reason why I don't go back to movies that are like that, because it's just like, all right, you close the book, you know everything's done. But there's movies and like television where you're like, what the F is going on? Like,
Yeah.
I'm always drawn to stuff like that, because even if you don't get the answer, like, you just get so much more out of something like that.
Right.
And like, that's what sticks with you, the lack of like, I don't know what the hell just happened.
And it allows you to kind of, like, reflect and like think about something rather than just like one and done. You watch the movie, it's over, and you're like, oh, that was cool, and then you just move on with your life.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. And
like, I've been thinking about this since last night.
yeah, we went and saw it last night. If you're watching this video, we saw it the night before filming this video, and like, we haven't even talked about the performances yet.
Oh, yeah,
but
they're-
like, yeah, this movie is two people.
Yes.
It's Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe, and usually, you know, top billing of movies, you have like 1, 2, 3 actors' names at the top, but it's just them two because it's just them two.
Literally.
Like, there's really no other characters
and
in
some
this.
seagulls.
Yeah, and some seagulls, and that's about it. But it's like, and that's what I liked about this movie, because it was just these two people, and you got to like know their relationship, and there was a lot that went into the development of their characters, and yeah, both of Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe did incredible. Like,
And I have always loved William Dafoe, but he kills it. And Robert Pattinson, I was like, I know you've seen him in a couple more movies than I have. I just know him from Twilight.
most
which
people know him
obviously
from Twilight. Yeah,
Isn't really my thing, but like, I wasn't expecting much from him. And he blew me away. Like, I was like, wow. I
Yeah.
had no idea.
yeah, he gets a lot of, like, just because of Twilight.
Right.
It's like, yeah, like, he has so much potential, and like, this is, I'm glad he was in a movie like this,
Right.
because you can actually see his acting chops, and you're like, okay, like, this guy's got actual talent. Like,
does,
Like,
yeah.
I think, and to me, he belongs in movies like this. He doesn't belong in the blockbuster, because he doesn't look like that type of guy who would be a blockbuster type actor.
I know, I saw him
Or
with
a
his
movie
facial
star.
hair, and I was like, sorry.
She's got the hots for Robert Pattinson now. But Willem Dafoe had a pretty gnarly beard.
He looked pretty hot, too.
Oh my god. I think that was the reason she went and saw this movie.
No.
It was, she's like, ooh, two hot lighthouse keepers with nice facial hair.
Nah.
But yeah, it's like, you saw two characters, and while, yeah, these are two actors that are very well known, like, you saw two characters in a movie, and that's what I like about, like, even well-known actors. It's just like, you don't see them as an actor, you just see them as a character, and yeah, that's very apparent in this movie.
Yeah.
So, the whole thing's in black and white, so a lot of people hate black and white film.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it, that type of stuff too. So, yeah, if you hate, like, there's so many red flags to this movie where it's just like, to people who go see it and absolutely hate it, it's like, that's fine, that's your prerogative, but it's like, there's so many red flags that come up. Like, even you even look up this movie, you're like, it's in black and white, it's just about two lighthouse keepers, okay, and it's supposed to be a horror film. It's like, well, and it's by A24. So you have like your, what you call pretentiousness written all over it.
Right.
But I didn't think it came off that way at all. Like, one thing, I'm glad I didn't forget this, but there were farts in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and that's not really giving anything away, but yeah, like, this movie is not above a fart joke.
Exactly.
So, yeah, there's a lot.
It's not taking itself, like, way too seriously. Like, it still gets you to laugh.
Oh, yeah, like, it wasn't a crowded theater, but there was a couple people, and, like, I heard them, like chuckle out loud at a couple parts. Because it felt very human, despite how surreal this movie came off. And,
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't forget that either.
yeah, like, I was so dumbfounded, like, when there was a fart, like, that happened. I just kind of, like, looked at you. I'm like, wait, did
Was that real?
I was like, was that real, or did someone fart in the theater or something? Because, yeah, the movie's pretty quiet a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But
What if it was me the whole time and I just kept tricking you?
then you probably would have been a genius, because it was at a perfect cues at the
True.
movie.
You're right.
But
Anyway.
yeah, this is definitely gonna make my best of the year list. I mean,
For sure, easily.
I want to make like a top 5 horror of the year.
Good luck.
Probably at the end, and that's very slim picking. Honestly, at least this year, most of the horror movies we've seen haven't been so great.
Yeah.
So I'm like, right now, this is already top tier, but Dr. Sleep is coming out, and I think that's gonna probably have some competition with the Lighthouse, but I
True.
mean, I applaud the Lighthouse, and yeah, it's awesome. I recommend, if anybody's even remotely a film buff, like, you'll probably love this movie. So, and there's a lot of, like, if you've seen The Witch and go see The Lighthouse, after seeing The Lighthouse, she had to cough. But yeah, between seeing The Witch and seeing The Lighthouse, there's a lot of similar elements in both of those movies, even specific scenes. You're just like, that reminded me of The Witch, which is kind of a good thing, because you're like, oh, it's the same director. So obviously it's like, that's their style. And yeah, I like Robert Eggers a lot, so yeah, The Witch and The Lighthouse are 2 for 2 for this guy.
Definitely.
And everyone
check it
involved.
out.
Yeah. I can't say enough praise about it, so.
And we can't say much else without getting too far into detail, and we don't want to spoil it, so.
Coffee's really good. The Lighthouse is really good. Go see The Lighthouse. Do you have any final thoughts, Barb?
You just sounded like you were sucking on a pipe. Like Thomas.
Yeah, the character of Thomas.
Yeah. I don't have anything else I want to add. I just think you should see it. And if I'm this excited about it, that means something.
That does mean something. Kelly is the type of person, I feel bad for saying it, but I kind of want to say what you always say about movies. You're like, I love movies up until the end. Like, most movies you hate the endings of.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I'm easy to please.
Oh, no.
Because I am.
Yeah, like...
Like, I'll watch anything. I pretty much like everything. But that's why I'm saying it's such a big deal that I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, because you're like, you'll love 2/3 of a lot of movies, and you're like, oh, the ending was bleh.
That's because I like slow burns, and I like all the character development, and then, like, you get to the end, and everything is, like, action-packed, and it's like, that's when I stop caring. I don't know why. It's a default in my system.
I can understand that, though, because...
Defect.
Yeah, like, we're both huge slow burn fans, but even there's a ton of slow burn movies where it's like the last 15-20 minutes, then it has to explode.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
It's like the very end of the spectrum of the universe, and then it goes to the complete opposite in the last 20 minutes. And
Right.
yeah, that can kind of kill a lot of
And it's not even
momentum.
like there's ever anything wrong with it. Like The Guest, we were just watching that the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie. The ending is amazing.
Yeah.
But like once you get to the like Halloween dance setup scene,
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Like whatever.
okay, I like it still. But
Yeah,
it's
but
not
it's
my
not
favorite
nearly
part.
as good as like the beginning of movies.
Right.
Yeah, I get that, but yeah, that's just our opinion on it. So, yeah, I guess this is gonna wrap it up.
Yeah.
We'll wrap up Creepy Coffee and Conversation. I think Franco wants to go for a walk. So,
We gotta check out that meatball underneath the cabinet.
Mm-hmm. And we're gonna go back to drinking some coffee and maybe some wine later. But yeah, if you guys have watched this whole thing, thank you for tuning in for Creepy Coffee and Conversation. And if you saw Lighthouse, yeah, let us know your opinion on it. Even if you're a big like horror fan and you went and saw Lighthouse and you're like, I didn't really care for it.
Let us know.
I mean, yeah, let us know on that, because like it's perfectly okay to have issues with a movie. While The Lighthouse is black and white, not every fandom or loving of something has to be you loved it or you hate it. It's
Right.
not so black and white. To me, there's a huge gray area of film criticism.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think film criticism exists. And then people get defensive when you're like, I really like this movie, but I wasn't crazy about that. And they're like, what? You didn't like this whole movie?
Right.
It's like, no. It's like, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I'm glad I went and saw it. But I had an issue with this. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with film criticism.
Right.
So, anyway, sorry about the tangent. Yeah, I have nothing else to say. I'm going to say bye.
Bye.
You got to say it through the camera.
Bye.